Same procedure as every year, Miss Sophie? Well, I mean, I was gonna say same procedure as every year, James, but this is the first time I'm reviewing it. This is Dinner for One.
Skull.
So, it seems to be a German classic, and the back, description is in German. Luckily, I've seen it, and I know what the premise is. But the opening explanation is entirely in German, and then the rest of the sketch is entirely in English.
Good evening, Miss Sophie. Good evening.
Good evening, James.
I've never quite understood, is it a German film that was dubbed into English, but they're very definitely speaking English? Or is it an English movie that somehow became popular in Germany, and so they added a little introduction to it? These are the sort of questions I could have Googled before starting, but something to look up, I guess. Fun trivia, find out for yourself. The basic premise. So, Miss Sophie celebrates her 90th birthday. Unfortunately, most of her friends have died, so her butler takes their place and gets drunk on behalf of each of them to keep her happy and to recreate her traditional birthday. That effectively makes it a dinner for one. Characters. You have James the butler, Miss Sophie, the 90-year-old lady, Sir Toby, who often says, "Cheerio." Then we have Admiral von Schneider, who says, "Skull." We have Mr. Pomeroy, who says, "Happy New Year, Sophie Miller." And we have Mr. Winterbottom, who often says, "Oh, you're all lovely." And here's what the four of them looked like before they died. Yeah, we've never actually seen their face. Pace. Being a old black and white film, it has that real live theatre slow pace to it, which in our modern being on your phone while watching something era, it may be a bit of an adjustment, but I honestly recommend it. Take 15 minutes to just wind down, embrace the live pacing of it, and treat it like a live theatre production, which is kind of helped and hindered by the fact that the audience is seeing this for the first time. So I've seen this every year since I was a child. The audience, every time I watch this, they are screeching and wailing and loving it to both help the feeling of being in a live audience, but also, on occasion, they overdo it. It was definitely as funny as they find it the first time I watched this, but after 20, 30 viewings, you start to go, whoa, relax a bit. So it can go either way. Why I recommend it? Because it is a New Year's tradition. It is generally on Australian SBS on New Year's Eve. It used to be at 7:30 on the dot every year, and then they've slowly moved it. So, same procedure as last year, Miss Sophie, same procedure as every year, James. Has definitely dwindled, both as I've just aged as an adult, and traditions you had as a child don't always hold up precisely to the letter. But also that SBS themselves have moved it around and not upheld the time it used to be on. But to my knowledge, it'll be on again 31st of December, SBS. Look up the Australian TV Guide, and it hopefully should be on there. Just go watch it. It's really funny. What I like about it, much like Mr. Bean, Noises Off, or the Valentine's Day episode of Frasier, it's just classic physical comedy. Classic fast slapstick. He's trying to serve dinner for a 90-year-old lady, and he has to drink 4 people's worth of alcohol. If you can pin it down to one simple sentence, the reason it's funny, man gets drunk. That's it. It's that simple, but they mine the absolute comedy out of that simple premise. He has to impersonate 4 different people, and you get the sense of what they act like. You have a basic foundation of, okay, these are the 4 people. He's gonna pretend to be them, but even after 4 drinks, he's already having trouble doing the skull movement. He's already having trouble pouring the glasses. He's both the butler and the guests. Simple complication makes it hilarious. And on top of that, he has a tiger skin rug that is out for revenge. So, at first, he's just serving the drinks and tripping over this thing, but little by little, they play with the formula. And you just don't know if he's gonna trip over it, step around it, jump over it. The brilliance of it is it gives you a very clear indication of what usually happens. Same routine, same time every year, and you never quite know where it's going. And from this point, I'm gonna read it because it's so many rounds of the same pour the wine, serve the food, get drunk, mess with the formula. I can't ever remember the exact sequence of events. So Spoilers from here, please go watch it first. But I'm basically going to break down how the plot evolves over the stages of him getting drunker and drunker. Stage 1, 0 drinks. There's general conversation, introduces the 4 people. We get cheerio, skull, happy new year, old lovely. So we get a catchphrase for each character. It's very simple and basic. You don't need to know much about the guests to understand what he's trying to do. And as a little added bonus, Sir Toby always calls him back to pour more wine. No matter how much he pours Sir Toby, there will always be a single backtrack where Sir Toby goes, yeah, fill it up a bit more. Stage 2, fish and white wine. 4 drinks in, you're like, oh yeah, he trips over the tiger, part of the formula. And of course, he trips over the tiger every time he goes to get the food. He accidentally misses the tiger. And just as you're thinking, oh wow, I thought he was gonna trip over it again. He doesn't. But then he does trip on and over on the way back, just to keep you on your toes. And the repeated use of must I Miss Sophie, like, he knows how drunk he's gonna get. And it's Miss Sophie's 90th birthday. They've obviously worked together for a very long time. He knows these people at least enough to emulate them. And the way she says, just to please me, or James please, there's an indication that he really cares about her and he wants to make her happy, and this isn't just a regular butler job. Like, he's not just doing this because he's getting paid well. He's doing this out of genuine love and respect for Miss Sophie. Getting himself drunk. And somewhere in the middle of the second part, he cackles, and it's very clear that around 6 drinks, he's already gone from basically functioning to quite tipsy. Stage 3, chicken and champagne. So now we're 8 drinks in, because he's had 4 drinks per round. The way he says, oh, lovely, chuk chuk, or the bowing run, because he can no longer kind of keep himself up. He's stumbling, spills while pouring, steps over the tiger. He does the skull leg movement, but it misses. The way he goes, nicest little women, nicest little women, and just stares at her, accidentally tips her chair. Like, these, like, sure, he's 8 drinks in, he's drank quite a bit, but at the very same time, it escalates so rapidly between 4 drinks and 8 drinks. Wait. And as he's carrying the food back to the kitchen area, trips over the tiger and flings the food into the heavens. Like, we know he's on a soundstage, but in universe, where did the food go? And just the phrase out of nowhere, I now declare this bazaar open, and then burps. Stage 4, I have no idea what he's even saying at this point. Even Miss Sophie, he says, what? And I don't even know if that was a scripted what, or she genuinely didn't catch what line he said, and he had to repeat it. 12 drinks in, he runs up the stairs, tries to catch Sir Toby off guard, like he's trying to outsmart him, like, yeah, you wanted me to pour the drink, go! Tries to shoot it in the glass from a distance, drinks directly from the bottle, jumps over the tiger, sugar in the morning. My favorite part has always been, he does the skull, but he chucks the glass so high in the air that the drink flies up, and then gets him on the head, and there's just a moment of pause where he goes, skull. He spills the drink and tries to scoop it, drinks the flowers, and then comments, oh, I'll kill that cat. I watched this many, many times every New Year's, and it still took me like several viewings before I understood as a child what he meant by the cat and drinking the flowers. And now I caught on, he means that the cat peed in that glass and he drank the cat's pee. And then after all that, he tries to shoo the tiger away. Like, it is just man gets drunk, but it's just so hilarious to watch his reactions. And him as a comedic physical actor, like, committing to the bit. And stage 5, all the food and wine is done. I can only name this stage, I'll do my very best. 16 drinks. He is smashed. And he's like, oh, by the way, same procedure as last year, Miss Sophie. And she's like, yep, same procedure as every year, James. And he just pauses and goes, well, I'll do my very best. And again, as a child, I did not understand what that meant. Because at this point, what has he got left to do? What has he got to tuck her into bed or something? Wow, in a manner of speaking. Because they go up the stairs, credits roll, and then he sticks his head around the corner, completely drunk, and just goes, and as an adult I caught on, they are going to sleep together. He's gotten drunk and now they're going to sleep together. And he's going to struggle to perform that task. But that's dinner for one. It probably also helps that something like Mr. Winterbottom is just a funny name. But as a kid, I found this Like, belly laughs hilarious. As an adult, I still really appreciate the structure of it, but again, I'm someone who, this movie is a tradition for me. I've watched it every year since I was probably 5 to 10, somewhere around that age. And I still find it funny. Like, I still watch it and go, he tripped over the tiger again. But it is those moments where, because it is a basic formula that escalates into chaos, I absolutely cannot ever remember the exact sequence. So even when I've watched it every year for like 30 years, there's still at least like a moment or two. Like, he'll do the skull thing and I'm still like, that is physically funny. No matter how many times I've seen it, watching the contents of the glass spill on his head and him try to look for the source of it, even though it was his own fault, it's just comedic genius. And like with Mr. Bean, I can watch it a billion times over and still find it funny. I'm never gonna find it as hilarious as that first ever childhood viewing, but between the slogan of same procedure as every year, James, and the physical comedy, this thing has just stayed right up my alley for 30 years. And now I've got it on DVD. While decent things will have diminishing returns, great things, no matter how many times you see them, will at least remain good. So I recommend this tradition to everybody. Dinner for One, if this is coming out on the 29th of December as I planned it, it's probably on TV in 2 days. Same procedure as this year, same procedure as next year. Good luck.
Oh, by the way, the same procedure as last year, Miss Sophie?
The same procedure as every year, James.
The same procedure as every year, James, yes.